Hi there, what's going on? It's your friendly, depressed neighbor. If you don't know me and you're new to this channel, I'm Candace. I did a video a while back about being a suicide hotline operator, and I got a lot of positive feedback, which was great to see. I kind of wanted to apply those trainings to how a lot of us are feeling right now. This whole year, the dumpster fire of 2020 has really increased my anxiety, and I've definitely felt those familiar feelings that I had when I was going through pretty bad depression and a depressive episode. I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder a long time ago, and I have really been wrestling with it my whole life. This video, I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but it's just hard with what's going on. I feel an overwhelming amount of guilt because I am coming from a place of privilege, and I just don't want things to come off the wrong way or to feel like, oh, that's easy for you to say. And I know that it feels like the world is ending, but I wanted to make this video just to give resources, give hope, give help to anyone who feels like they need that right now. And by using my training and education, I can possibly potentially help someone out there, because it's a crazy world that we're living in right now. As a lot of you may know, when you get back into these feelings, it might become really hard to get up and even go to work. Just doing simple tasks can be really hard. And then in addition to all this, a lot of us, including me, feel guilty for our feelings, in that I am perfectly healthy. I am very lucky to be where I am. I'm very privileged, and yet I still have these feelings. And looking at your mental health right now, if you're having a hard time, that is okay and perfectly normal for the situation that a ton of us are going through right now. Because of all of the influx we have and constant stream of the media and social media and the news, and we are exposed to these horrible things that are so important, but they're so hard to really take in sometimes. And especially for people who have struggled with mental health disorders, it can be really difficult to deal with everything that's going on. I know that my sleep has gotten worse. You've noticed I haven't really been posting a lot of videos. It's just because my body physically just won't do it, and it is so incredibly frustrating. A lot of the things that I'm about to talk about have helped me. They haven't cured me. I'm not gonna say these things are gonna cure you. They're not. The first thing I would say is to listen to these feelings. Everything you're feeling is totally valid. And that is one thing that my grief therapist has told me, especially now when I've had such a hard time with the loss of my dad, and that I feel like I should just be over it and be happy. But at the end of the day, my grief is valid. Your grief is valid. No matter who you're grieving for, it's valid. And that's kind of the first step here. One of the biggest things I've done is that I've tuned out a lot of social media. And I know that I've talked about this before, and it sounds so obvious and so trite, but like, looking at someone else's photo and then bragging about what they're doing does not help me. Hop off of social media for a few days. Take a digital detox and just get off of things. And I know some of you might be saying you follow really happy sites. I have recently been living through my cat's Instagram because all I want to do is just look at dogs and animals all day and just see that and have that as my therapy. Another very important thing to do is to just give yourself designated times to look at the news, to listen to the news, and choose your news very wisely. People are saying a lot of things. People have a lot of feelings, but it's important to look at facts. It's important to look at what's going on and really pay attention to where you're getting your sources. Even in my time at BuzzFeed, like, what did we do? We clickbaited, ultimately. And a lot of news sites like to do that, and they like to show if it bleeds, it reads. I mean, you don't really see very happy headlines, and especially right now, it's hard to really find some goodness out there, but there is. And at some point when you're just looking at it constantly, it really will take a toll on your mental health. The next thing, which is so obvious, but I would say try to read. Try to read a book. Don't listen to a book, don't watch something, but try to read something. Not only because it helps me fall asleep, but it also gets my mind off of a screen. One of my favorite books is Reasons to Stay Alive. I have some stuff bookmarked here. This has really helped me with my mental health, and I remember my mom saw this and she didn't really know what this was about, and she was like, "Are you about to kill yourself, Candace?" And I was like, all right, we need to talk. Try to have a routine at night where you're reading, you're not on your phone. You can be knitting, I don't care. I'm not gonna judge you for what you're doing. Just do something that isn't on a screen. And if you can't fall asleep, it's important to get up from your bed, go get a drink of water, walk around, reset yourself, and get back into bed. It's very common for people not be able to sleep. My anxiety comes most at night. The next thing that I would say could help you is to start something new. Try something new. I got really into watercoloring, and I'm not great at all. But I started watercoloring food. My favorite thing to watercolor is a blueberry and a chocolate chip cookie. And that has really gotten me kind of out of funk sometimes, in that I will just sit and get into my watercolor zone, and I'll put the girl that I've been following on YouTube, her tutorials, I'll put those resources below. But I started getting into just like crafts or something that just gets me doing something, but not something huge. And that leads me to my next point, which is don't have some big giant goal or plan you're gonna do, because you're not gonna be able to do it and it's gonna feel really overwhelming. Have little things that you can do. So here's an example. I want to deep clean my entire room and closet. That can be really daunting, and you can push that off as many times as you want, honestly, until quarantine's over, to be honest. Look at it more so like, I am going to just clean out this drawer, or I am going to find 10 pieces of clothing that I want to donate, that I want to help out with, and that will be way more approachable than trying to have some giant goal out there. The next thing, which is another semi-obvious thing, is to try to meditate. I am really bad at meditating on my own without any guidance or help. I'm not that zen. So I use this app called Buddhify. There's also Headspace, which I think they're making free for like a couple of months, just because of the mental undertaking we're all going through. And just turn that on right before I go to sleep. If I'm not feeling like reading, I'll put my headphones in and I'll play a meditation, and I'll be able to fall asleep. And it's just helpful to have 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes a day. I spend like an hour looking at TikTok. I can spend 10 minutes doing meditation for me. And it'll just help you relax and get into that mode. Next, just get outside at least once a day. I don't care if you get on your balcony. I don't care if you step foot outside. I don't care if you walk a block or run 5 miles. Just get outside. In Seattle right now, it has actually been really rainy. Where I live, I'm deep downtown, so I don't have a lot of green space, but I am lucky enough to have a balcony, and I know that it sometimes feels like the last thing I want to do is get out of bed, but at the end of the day, it helps to be able to get outside. Next, try to cook. I have been obsessed with cooking. I know people, there's like a flour shortage because everyone's trying to bake bread, but you don't need to bake bread. I got an Instant Pot, I got an air fryer. I'm just trying new things with baking. If I get restless, that's the thing I found that can really help me in those times where my mind is going a million miles an hour. If I devote my thoughts to cooking, I know that I'll be okay for at least an hour. And that's the thing, is that it can be so overwhelming to be like, I don't know what things are gonna look like 6 months from now, but what you can control is what things are gonna look like right this minute and what they're gonna look like in the next 10 minutes, in the next hour. So try as much as you can to think about things in the now, which I know is impossible because I have anxiety, but if you try to think of things that you can do right now, time will go quicker and you will feel so accomplished. These final two things I want to talk about, just knowing your resources and knowing your safety plan. I talked about this in my last video, but what we love to have, what I have, is a safety plan. And knowing that if you get in an intense state of panic where things feel overwhelming, you have a designated place where an item that you know will help you is. You have a plan on who you will call. They know that they are there for you and they want to be there for you, and you have that support system. And then you either have a mantra that you've written down, some place you can put yourself to just be okay in the next few minutes and just calm yourself down. And it's also important to just know your resources. I'm gonna comment down below a ton of different resources, not only to help you, but in ways that you can help. And believe me, right now there are so many people, organizations in need of your help, and so many people and organizations that want to help you. And that is really the core of this, and know that you are not alone in this situation. I know that sometimes it feels like nobody is there, but there will always be someone willing to pick up the phone, willing to answer a text, that wants to help you. That's really what I was there for. I was not being paid. I was choosing to go help people. So just know that there are people out there that want to support you, that want to feel your support. And that many of us are feeling very similar right now, and it's just hard to talk about it because mental health is such a tough subject. We're gonna get through this. There is some incredible change happening out there. There are some incredible thoughts, some ideas that are going on, and this is just the beginning. There are beautiful things happening, and I know there are some scary things out there, but we're gonna get through this together. All right. I guess that's it. I don't know. Okay, I'd love to hear what kind of resources you use and what's really helped you through the process. And just be happy. Say something nice to someone in the comments. I don't know. But I'll see you next time. All right, bye.